I am the Francis Eppes Distinguished Professor at Florida State University, and I teach creative writing. We actually give a PhD in creative writing. In fact, we gave a PhD to Colonel Jesse Goolsbee. I was a Vietnam veteran. Was there in this calendar year '71. And while I was in Vietnam, I was with the Army, they had the foresight to send me to language school for a year. And when I arrived in Vietnam on my first day in country, I was speaking fluent Vietnamese. On my second day in country, I began to fall madly and deeply in love with the Vietnamese people and their culture and their landscape. I was a counterintelligence special agent. I had a chance to work in the countryside for 5 months. I had close contacts with Vietnamese farmers, woodcutters, fishermen, provincial police chiefs. And I was transferred to Saigon, where I worked in Saigon City Hall for the American Foreign Service officer who was the advisor to the mayor of Saigon. My favorite thing in the world every night was to leave my .38 in the bottom drawer of the dresser, go out into the armed only with the Vietnamese language, into the steamy back alleys of Saigon where nobody ever seemed to sleep, and I just enter into the welcoming arms of the Vietnamese people, who were quite wonderful, and they shared their culture and their lives with me. And I came back and eventually wrote a book called A Good Scent from a Strange Mountain. Book of short stories about Vietnamese exiles living in southern Louisiana after the war. And it happened to win the Pulitzer Prize. You know, that's the irony of the greatness of American military, that it is dependent on the, on that remarkable irony that it is, our military is intrinsically humane. And that in at least in its pure intent, it is the mandates and the philosophies of the American military have always been as beautiful and pure and in many ways profoundly difficult and maybe even impossible to attain in any full and consistent way as the American Constitution. We have, you know, the military has as high a goal as the Constitution does. But to maintain our military's uniqueness, we need to humanize our soldiers in every branch, and in order to, so that philosophy I'm describing plays out in the most granular of levels, on the most one-on-one, you know, soldier in a Jeep and a child on the sidewalk. You know, it has to be down to that level that we are trained to be human.